Challenge. Hard copy comes to KYW3 September 7th at 7:30.
A focus on sensuality and female desire.
Skin flicks take a new direction as women get on the other side of the camera.
I think men will not only be turned on to my movies, but maybe they'll learn a bit.
Risque business. She was a perfect 10. Then her gold medal magic was tarnished with tales of alcohol, adultery, and abuse.
I was a prisoner of this guy.
They were together all the time. They were sharing the same bed.
Now she's back. Naughty Nadia. Amateur inventors unveil the shape of things to come.
There, and it spins up.
Our show is sort of a star search of home inventions, if you will.
Welcome to the Invention Convention.
Hello, everyone. I'm Maureen O'Boyle. Welcome to A Current Affair for this Wednesday, August 26th. There are millions of Americans who wouldn't be caught dead in one particular section of their local video store. That's the corner off to one side where the X-rated films are kept. Well, we met a group of movie makers who say they know how to make the adults-only shelves more acceptable. Robin Dorian has the story of the women directors who are making giant inroads into this risque business.
It's very sensual. I let the couples explore and create and do what they'd like to do and really try and exchange something. You know, I try to make it like lovemaking really can be.
People realize that sex is great and sex is fun, and that there is nothing wrong with watching it.
I like to incorporate feelings and emotions because your mind is your biggest sex organ. If you can get your mind interested in a character and turned on to a character, you're going to enjoy that character sexually.
The heat is on and the passion is building. Taking it off for adult home video has become a little less hardcore and a lot more romantic because directing the action from behind the camera are the same women who used to appear in front of it.
A focus on sensuality, female desire, and how we can bring couples together to have a better communication and sex life.
Candida Royalle has first-hand knowledge of the pleasure principle. She was one of the reigning princesses of porn in the 70s, appearing in more than 20 X-rated films. But she saw an opportunity to become part of a new wave of erotica, directing for the adult home video market.
Being in front of the camera gave me quite an up-close view of what this was really like and what the movies were like. And I couldn't understand why they were done so crudely and with so little sensuality and no focus on women's sexuality. And I felt that there was really some potential for this medium.
Candida's Femme Productions has turned out 7 films and is working on its 8th. With softer focus, fewer unattractive close-ups, and more developed storylines, Royal's hotshots have become a major segment of the women's and couples market.
They want something that's softer and gentler and done more tastefully, and they're hoping that a woman can bring that sort of dignity and class to what they're watching.
All of the elements that I would look for in a so-called mainstream motion picture, I try to incorporate into mine and not just focus on the sex for sex's sake.
It's not just for men and by men anymore. Gloria Leonard is another former porn star turned director.
I believe that I direct differently than men direct, in that I am more concerned with the performer's pleasure than I am with the more technical things of, you know, hold your stomach in, wet your lips, arch your back. I focus in on the smaller elements and not necessarily just the humping and pumping.
Hypatia Lee is another X-rated seductress that is going behind the scenes and now appearing in her own creations.
I think men will not only be turned on to my movies, but maybe they'll learn a bit more about what to do to turn on their woman, too.
But this kindler, gentler fare has its critics. They feel directed by a man or directed by a woman, it's still hardcore porn, perhaps just tied with a pink bow.
What the pornographers are is they're very clever marketers, and they're trying to do 2 things. They're first of all trying to ward off feminist criticism of the sexism in pornography by presenting it as pro-woman erotica, And secondly, they're trying to make a lot of money by developing a new market, which is women.
I'm clearly trying to send a message that our sexuality is a natural, beautiful, lovely part of our lives. It's life-enriching, it's healthy, and that there's nothing to be ashamed of, nothing at all. If you're consenting adults viewing other consenting adults having sex for you to watch, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it.
Moving from the shadows to the mainstream is adult home video. It's ranking in sales of over $1 billion a year. Titles directed by women for women are adding up, and almost half of the adult films rented are to females. It's been proven beneficial in couples therapy as well.
Many couples use the film in their own home as a way to increase their fantasizing, as a way to increase their sexual excitement toward one another, so that the sexual act between the two people is more exciting, more fulfilling.
More couples are tuning in to turn on and finding these romantic video novels a way to enhance their relationship, to stay together and practice safe sex.
I have made the use of condoms very erotic, and for people watching at home, there are ways of using condoms that are very, very provocative and hot.
This explicit erotica is fulfilling a lot of fantasies, but it took a female touch to make it more acceptable.
I like to leave mine with a message so that the viewer has learned something, whether it's about sex not being nasty or dirty, or whether it's about something totally different, how to be nice to a woman, how to make a woman feel good.
Well, it seems the experts like X-rated films as well. One of Candida Royale's movies was shown at the National Convention of Sex Therapists. Now, up next, the return of a fallen idol.
The people still love me after everything that I passed through.
Meet the new Nadia Comaneci. And later, America's funniest home inventions.
It's like an aphrodisiac.
He saved a little girl from a fiery inferno and was hailed as a hero. But for the little girl's mother, he was a devil in disguise.
Good afternoon. At 6, a devastating fire sweeps through an apartment complex. Hundreds are homeless, many elderly, and the Red Cross takes some of the heat.
How can they help these latest victims when daily disasters are draining their budget? We'll tell you what you can do when we get to the heart of the matter.
And a controversial new test that detects Down syndrome before your baby's born. I'm Bruce Hamilton.
And I'm Jennifer Ward. Join us for these stories, plus sports and weather at 6 on Newspeak.
See you then.
The first ever Toyotathon summer clearance is here, with thousands of deals at Toyota dealers everywhere. Save on Camry, one of Motor Trend's top 10.
The dealing is hot and heavy, and with great Camry quality, it's no wonder. Summer Toyotathon is the best time to buy. Just listen.
During Toyotathon, I think I saved about $2,000 on my Camry.
Hurry, see your Toyota dealer now. You can't beat Toyotathon clearance savings.
White Castle, KYW3 and WMMR present the Liftoff and Win Sweepstakes. You could win a trip for 4 to Universal Studios, Florida, the #1 movie studio and theme park in the world. You'll blast off in Back to the Future, The Ride, and face the fury of King Kong. You'll lift off on US Air, the official airline of Universal Studios, Florida, and stay in the Twin Towers Hotel. Stop into the nearest White Castle today, and you could be lifting off for Universal Studios before you know it.
Miller Genuine Draft Bobby Ray Hall IndyCar. This year, he's really flying.
Now, get a Dodge Spirit with air, a 4-speaker stereo, and lots more at no extra charge. Plus, you can get $1,000 cash back. So you can own a Dodge Spirit with all these extras for under $11,700. It's lowest price ever. So see the Dodge dealer nearest you for the new Dodge you'll want to put in your garage.
The name Nadia Comaneci conjures up the picture of perfection, but instead of cheers, the one-time Olympic sweetheart met with jeers when she fled to freedom with a married man. Now Nadia is making a triumphant return, not as an athlete, but as a model for women's underwear. As our Bill McGowan reports, her biggest challenge this time may be overcoming her image as naughty Nadia.
Just 14 years old, not even 5 feet tall, tiny Nadia Comaneci towered over the 1976 Olympics with her breathtaking superhuman performance. Even the scoring equipment couldn't register her unprecedented perfect tens. No gymnast had ever before scored double digits. Back then, she was as good as gold. It's growing up that turned out to be so hard for Nadia Comaneci. The gold medal magic of her childhood was followed by dark years back home in Romania. Allegations that she collaborated with a cruel dictator. Then reports that Nadia herself suffered abuse at the hands of the ruling family. Then her escape to freedom in America in 1989 was tainted by her running around with a married man and flaunting it. It earned her a perfect 0 with the once adoring public.
So what?
Now, 30 years old, Nadia is trying to bounce back, and many old fans are cheering her on. Still, her life sometimes seems to be a never-ending series of games, not all so Olympian. Apparently, there will always be judges watching, eager to settle some old scores.
Nice welcome for Nadia Comaneci.
Nadia is back in shape now and showing off her stuff as a promoter for Jockey Underwear. In a Baltimore shopping mall, she spends more than an hour signing autographs.
Thank you so much.
She was so cute. She had that perfect little ponytail.
She was the first Olympic gymnast to get the perfect 10.
She was the first really celebrity gymnast.
The perfect form of gymnastics. She was perfect. The people still love me after everything that I passed through because they were with me and maybe they believe in me.
Forgive Maria Panate for not being one of Nadia's believers. She's the woman whose husband, Constantine, helped sneak Nadia out of Romania 3 years ago.
She did destroy my family.
Maria Panate found out about her husband and Nadia's relationship on television as the Olympic champ brushed off questions about her companion being married.
So what?
So what?
He helped me to come here.
Constantine Panate never came home again, except to take their son and return to Romania.
I had to go on welfare because he took off. He didn't leave me any money or anything.
Maria's Romanian too. She remembers worshiping Nadia Comaneci as a national hero when she was young. She never dreamed the star gymnast would one day jump right between her and her husband.
What they did together, sleeping together and some of the acts they did and things like that. What he told me. Because I asked him, how could you do something like this to me? Why would you do, even if you did stay together with her, let's say, why did you have to sleep with her?
There was nothing between me and him.
Nadia has a new version to tell about that old scandal. She now claims Constantine Panate held her hostage once she arrived in America.
All the time, I didn't have the chance to talk directly with the journalist, with everybody who put me question, because everything passed through him. Because he said that I don't speak English, just because he wanted to control.
Her English seemed fine at the time.
We will stay together.
So this is the romance, yeah? Love?
It's a secret. I was a prisoner of this guy.
I don't believe it's true. I mean, she had plenty of chances, if he was sleeping or if he was doing something or gone out of the place. If she was really smart enough, she would get out. If she didn't really want to stay with him.
Nadia's escape is more the kind of thing she and her managers prefer to discuss. Her dramatic flight to freedom is part of a movie being made about her life story.
I passed the border and that was very difficult and I could have been killed. So we were walking through the border 6 hours in the middle of the night.
But this man has a different story to tell about Nadia's flight to freedom. One that may not make it into the movie on her life story. Orel Talpos says Nadia's heroic overland escape was really a drunken, babbling stagger. He says his family literally carried Nadia out of Romania.
They had to grab her because she was too drunk and she didn't even know where she was going. I was with her for about 10 days, if not more. There was not one day left, not seeing her drunk. She was drunk every day, every single day.
A spokesman for Nadia denies any drunkenness, saying it's not at all true. But there are other reports she was smashed. So much so, it's a miracle her yelling and screaming didn't get the group caught by Romanian border guards. Nadia's spokesman rejects any suggestion she was out of control, saying everyone in the group made a certain amount of noise at some point during the escape. As for whether or not Nadia and Konstantin were really having an affair, Orel Talpos says there was no doubt.
They were together all the time, and they were in the same bed in my father's house for 1 week, so, what else can I say?
The spokesman for Nadia says it's not true, since she only had known Konstantin for a few days. Nadia says she fled Romania after suffering directly at the hands of this man, Nicu Ceausescu, the dictator's son, who she claims carried out a campaign of abuse against her.
I was a worker like anybody else, and being used as a propaganda object because he was, every time when he had a meeting with somebody, he grabbed me to make his appearance more important.
But what about reports that she was really his mistress?
People seeing us together, rumors start. And I couldn't say, wait a minute, this is not what you think. Because you don't have the right to say that. Because, again, you can have some horrible thing happen to you.
Instead, she says, the sexual abuse inflicted on her by Nicu Ceausescu was so monstrous she can't even talk about it.
Especially to me, this abuse in all kind of situations.
Today, Nadia Comaneci says she's happy like she hasn't been in a long time. She's surrounded by a whole new group. Paul Zert, once an Olympic coach, has become her manager. And Bart Connor, a two-time Olympic champ himself, is her new boyfriend. It's a whole new image that's been packaged here to rehabilitate the one-time Olympic sweetheart and allow her to sell herself as a perfect 10 again. Maybe this time, Nadia Comaneci is free for good. No longer anyone's hostage.
That movie about Nadia's life will be released next year. Still ahead, the fly swatter of the future and other 21st century science.
I invented a lot of different things that are still in the drawer.
That weird invention you dreamed up could land you on national TV. We'll tell you how when we come back.
Later this week, pampered pets who live in the lap of luxury even after their owners have died.
It's an issue of honesty. For the price of a movie, you can buy current hits while they're still in the theaters. Bootleg videos. It's an issue of fraud. Who's selling them, who's buying them, and who's getting ripped off. It's an issue that could end up costing you.
The tape will actually tie up the machine. It unravels inside the machine.
It's an issue of money.
They drove you out of business.
They drove us out of business. The high price of bootleg movies. We're making an issue of it. Tonight at 11 on the news tonight.
Nissan's Let It Roll sales event. Make your best deal now and save hundreds with factory-to-dealer incentives on Maximas, Sentras, trucks, on most of the award-winning Nissan lineup. It's our biggest sales event of the year, but these deals won't last, so hurry in today and...
Down the highway. Let it roll.
Hello, seafood lovers. This is Joe Gentili for Seafood Shanty Restaurants. Now, you know what a great value our Seafood Shanty shrimp sampler is. Made with 18 large plump shrimp cooked 3 ways, scampi fried and steamed, served with a baked Idaho potato, California salad bowl, and hot bread basket. And now, to really make this an extraordinary value, we're including a free half-pound of Alaskan snow crab legs. Seafood Shanty for quality, value, and freshness.
Wonderful man, your heart at Seafood Shanty. I love my calendar girl.
jeans. At department stores, $30. The same jeans at Ross, $15. The only difference is the price. A designer cotton shirt at fine stores, $32. The same shirt at Ross, $16. The only difference is the price.
My Ross calendar girl, she gets great prices every day of the year.
Saving money on a new car is important, but the car you're saving on is probably more important. And now, because of special financing, you can drive a new 92 Buick LeSabre for just $299 per month. This low payment includes a driver's side airbag, anti-lock brakes, and almost every feature available on a full-size sedan at any price. With a 92 Buick LeSabre for just $299 per month, you're not just saving money, you're getting Buick quality as well.
Have you ever come up with an off-the-wall invention that you really think could make you a millionaire? Apparently, you're not alone. Our George Chickarone caught up with some of tomorrow's Einsteins at the Invention Convention.
Some humans achieve greatness. Others are born great, and some have greatness thrust upon them.
We get everything for free.
But there are those people like Harry Epstein who are waiting for greatness just around the corner.
This is a new hygiene appliance. It's our new tushy washer that we think whose time has come.
Say what, Harry?
It's been difficult to promote this.
I can see why. But let's leave that alone for now. Harry Epstein is part of a nationwide cattle call to find a better mousetrap.
Why didn't I think of that?
The show is called Why Didn't I Think of That? That guru of game shows, Wink Martindale, is trying to do for inventors what America's Home Video did for amateur camera people.
There, and it spins out.
Our show is sort of a star search of home inventions, if you will. They're inventions that are very creative, very practical. Some of them will be a little bit outrageous. Some of them will be wild, and some of them you might look at it and say, well, I'm glad I didn't think of that.
At New York City's historic Algonquin Hotel, Martindale was auditioning people who think they have thought of that.
Inventors are a special breed. I know inventors, I know about inventors.
Retired fireman Neil Connie Wallace has invented, yep, that's right, a balloon, especially for New York, in the shape of the Big Apple. He thinks it's almost a sex symbol.
It's like an aphrodisiac, this balloon. I don't know if I should tell it to you, because every time I see a woman staring at the balloon, the pupils like dilate, huh? Right? Has something to do with the Bible. You don't believe that, do you, huh?
We sure do, Neil, 100%.
It's a very basic device, but again, one of those things that sort of defines the title of our show. We all have heard of the Better Mousetrap. Two guys in Lompoc, California, a bail bondsman and a friend got together and came up with the Better Fly Swatter.
They got 15/100ths of a second to jump 5.5 inches.
Retired brewery worker Tom Rocco wants to join the Baseball Hall of Fame of sorts, the first man to be a pitcher and a catcher at the same time. You see, he pitches the ball attached to a giant rubber band connected to a baseball glove. Yeah, right.
I was a little crazy for a while. I invented a lot of different things that are still in the drawer. And if this one don't click, I said, this is the best of the lot.
And then there's New York City bus driver Alphonse Williams, who's worried about long-distance love.
If they get on the phone with one of their sweethearts, and their sweetheart on the other line says, give me a kiss, they'll actually kiss the telephone surface without thinking about it. You know how love can be.
Oh, yeah, sure we do. So Alphonse has come up with a device that will save you from mononucleosis.
My invention is Speakeasy's disposable public phone covers. And it's designed to help an individual prevent direct contact with the public telephone surface.
Jennifer Hacker and Jill Nathanson want to help the environment, so they've come up with a recycling bag that simply hangs on your wall for your special garbage.
Sometimes we come up with stupid ideas, and then from the stupid, ridiculous ideas, which we're laughing hysterically, and then we come up with a good idea.
So, if success is the mother of invention, why didn't I think of that must be the illegitimate kid.
Will you ever say, why didn't I think of that? Probably not, but it's fun.
Why Didn't I Think of That premieres the weekend of September 19th. We'll be right back with the cop who moonlighted in a very shady business.
He was a male prostitute.
Tomorrow, she may have set the screen on fire in the steamy movie Basic Instinct, but Sharon Stone wasn't always a sex symbol. Back to basics.
Kelly LeBrock reveals the essence of man.
It's in the way he walks, the way he smiles, and when he holds you close. It's in the way he smells. Brute, the essence of man. Come on, put it on.
Alka-Seltzer Plus Sinus Allergy takes on the toughest allergies.
Yard work makes my allergies go crazy. But Alka-Seltzer Plus works great. Even relieves my watery eyes. Good thing. It's a big lawn.
Alka-Seltzer Plus Sinus Allergy. It's tough medicine.
Good morning, birthday girl.
Don't remind me. I hope no one finds out.
It's our secret.
Forecast for the area. Introducing Pond's Foaming Cleanser and Toner in one. It deep cleans and helps tighten pores to bring out your natural radiance.
And this birthday wish goes out to Deborah Palmer from a secret admirer.
You are so beautiful to me.
Pond, it brings out your natural radiance.
Here's one sign of a smooth, quiet ride. And here's another. Amoco. Your family may not know that fast startups, quick response, and smooth rides are results of Amoco Ultimate's superior engine cleaning. No, the Amoco sign may not mean the same thing to them as it does to you, but somewhere down the road, it all comes together. Smooth, quiet, performance. Amoco Ultimate.
The promise is performance. Welcome to the theater, the show.
And now the news from the 18th century. In colonial Williamsburg today, sophisticated English comedy was playing. The blacksmiths were forging a new weather vane for the courthouse. And the Smiths were visiting for the 5th time. Come to colonial Williamsburg. For your free vacation planner, call 1-800-HISTORY.
There they are. They're not millionaires. They're not celebrities. They're smart and thrifty. How?
I didn't pay a lot for brakes at Meineke.
Oh, the man who didn't pay a lot for brakes at Meineke.
Let Meineke Discount Mufflers show you how to get high quality at a famously low price. At Meineke, you're not going to pay a lot for brakes.
Here's what's coming up tomorrow on A Current Affair.
This former cop got caught with his policeman's pants down when he traded his nightstick for a night of selling his body.
Is there anything particular you were interested in doing? How do we do?
Along with his call girl lover, Gordon Younger was running an escort service that offered more than police protection. But their romance went sour, and she set him up in a mastermind sting. An officer and a gigolo.
That bizarre story Thursday on A Current Affair. Thanks for joining us, everyone. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Good night.
This is Newsbeat's Bruce Hamilton. A devastating fire sweeps through an apartment complex. Hundreds are homeless, and the Red Cross is taking the heat. How can they help when daily disasters are draining their budget? Find out what you can do when we get to the heart of the matter at 6.
A day at Six Flags Great Adventure.
It's a world of fun.
Hey, there's nothing like a Six Flags day with your kids. There's nothing like the excitement of Adventure Rivers. Over 100 great rides and attractions in all, including a safari and the new Batman stunt show. Share the fun at a theme park bigger than Disneyland. Six Flags Great Adventure. It's not a world away.
It's a world of fun, Doc.
Adults save $10 weekdays or $5 weekends with special coupons at participating Burger Kings.
When spills are at their worst, Bounty's at its best. It's the quicker, thicker picker-upper. Bounty is quicker and thicker than any other national two-ply paper towel. When spills are at their worst, Bounty's at its best.
All of these children have one thing in common. All of them were unplanned pregnancies. Pregnancies that could have ended in abortion. But their parents toughed it out, listened to their hearts, and discovered along the way that sometimes The best things in life aren't planned. Life. What a beautiful choice.
The most offbeat fan clubs you've ever seen on Entertainment Tonight.
The Gulf Coast is still in the eye of the storm as Hurricane Andrew slams into Louisiana and Texas. Florida is licking its wounds and searching for more victims.
One alert in 10 minutes.
Exclusive, they're going to take us inside.
Along the Louisiana coast, people prepared for Andrew's assault. And when the storm blew into the small town of Holma, people were ready.
This is the only incident we have all night. Consider it lucky.
Rick Kirkham recounts the night he spent with one family when Andrew came calling.
2, 1.
Zoom in, camera 1.
While Andrew continues to pummel Louisiana, frustrated police in South Florida are battling another problem left in the hurricane's wake: looting.
Get out of the car! Hey, that's why you're going to jail. You're stealing food. I can feel for you.
An inside look at how Florida's food shortage has created a crisis for cops.
Script is in. Chicago, we're coming to you first.
Audio check, 1, 2.
Then to L.A.
For 8 years, Sandy agonized in silence.
Let him take pictures of me. And then let him do what he did to me.
For 8 years, her fear for her family forced her into being repeatedly raped.
And he would blindfold me and I would hit the door.
Today, Sandy tells her incredible story of 8 years of pain at the hands of her brother-in-law.
Stand by.
Hello and welcome to Inside Edition. I'm Tony Cox. Bill O'Reilly is on assignment this week. Today we'll give you the very latest on Hurricane Andrew's vicious path across the Gulf Coast. The number of victims is rising, and so are the number of problems for people trying to put their lives back together. Also today, an incredible story, an Inside Edition exclusive about a cruel game where a victim was brutally raped over an 8-year period. But first, Hurricane Andrew began losing his punch today, but not before delivering another knockout blow, this time to the Gulf Coast. Our coverage begins with Rick Kirkham, who last night felt the fury of Andrew firsthand.
Authorities first realized on Tuesday that New Orleans would be spared a direct hit by Hurricane Andrew. They predicted that the small town of Houma, Louisiana, would end up taking the brunt of the storm. That's where I'm standing now. Our news crew and I battled heavy winds and rain yesterday to make it to Houma. And once we got here, we realized we were in for the storm of a lifetime.
Just getting to the town of Houma was a nerve-wracking experience. Rain with wind gusts of 60 miles per hour warned us of Hurricane Andrew's approach. The weather let up some as we entered Houma, marked by a comforting and apropos greeting alongside the road.
Jim?
I'm Jim.
You're Jim. Rick Kirkham with Inside Edition, Jim.
Jim.
Nice to meet you.
Crowley.
I understand you might give me a little shelter from the hurricane.
Jim Crowley, the operator of the town's bowling alley, his wife Shirley, and their family invited me to bear out the storm in their home. While the younger crowd played games, Jim watched the TV weather reports intently. However, high winds on the edge of the hurricane, still some 8 hours away, blew out power in the area, and Shirley Crowley, along with her mother, was forced to cook dinner by flashlight and candlelight.
We've done this before, so we're used to doing things like this.
So if you're in a situation where you have a power outage, please...
Meanwhile, Jim was left with only a radio to monitor the storm. Little Tracy was beginning to worry about the winds. She said she was afraid a tree was going to fall on her. Another hour goes by, and everyone is watching the outer strands of the hurricane move ever closer.
What time is it? Anybody got to watch it? Get out to eat.
At 8:45, dinner was served by candlelight. Everyone still taking the storm in stride. But now, Shirley was beginning to get a little nervous.
It has picked up in the last 45 minutes. It's much worse. The winds are gusting much more.
At 11 o'clock, the storm was still a few hours away. But the first radio reports of wind damage were cause for alarm.
Maximum sustained winds are holding at 140 miles per hour, gusting to 160.
Little Tracy had gone to bed, but now it was time to move her to the safety of a hallway. The roof of the patio was now showing signs of weakness. The winds here were picking up. The phone lines were now working only periodically, and the noise of the storm had awoken Tracy, who watched as the adults fixed a window blown out by the winds.
Are you still afraid a tree's going to fall on you?
Yeah. However, the continued barrage of rain and wind quickly sent the little girl to the comfort of Grandma's arms. At 3 a.m., Hurricane Andrew moved in.
Again, you heard it, Hurricane Andrew is coming ashore.
Back at the Crowley home, though, there was good news. Andrew was not going to strike here directly. That called for a celebration of fruit, along with sighs of relief. The roads out of Houma were as eerie as the storm itself, covered with fallen trees and branches. Leaving this area for us required a hands-on approach, helping workmen clear this highway of nature's new roadblocks.
This was the scene throughout southern Louisiana as Hurricane Andrew literally bore down on the area with 140-mile-per-hour winds. Buildings, homes, everything destroyed for miles.
So the wind just blew it right over, huh?
Oh, it just, well, it must be a half a mile that way.
Well, at least nobody was killed. No. The people of Houma say they were blessed with a double miracle overnight. First of all, Hurricane Andrew was downgraded from a Class 4 hurricane to a Class 3. And second, the eye of that storm ended up not passing over this small town, instead moving further west. Still, President Bush has declared this particular county, or parish as it's known, as a disaster area, and it's going to be quite some time before the people here get their lives back to normal.
The winds may have died down in South Florida, but other problems like looting are beginning to pick up steam. We'll take an inside look next as Inside Edition continues.
Get out of the car! Look at that. Oh, you're hungry, huh? Looks more like you're thirsty.
Good afternoon. A possible new lead in the case of an area child molester. We'll show you the police sketch that could lead to his arrest.
And a policeman is dead after rescuing a man caught in a cloud of deadly gas. We'll have his heroic story.
Plus evidence that babies can do math before they can talk. Find out if it all adds up.
And of course, we'll bring you up to date on Hurricane Andrew's whereabouts. I'm Bruce Hamilton.
And I'm Jennifer Ward. These stories plus sports and weather today at 6 on Newsbeat.
Hot coffee and steak in front of strangers at 30,000 feet? Not till I switched. Now I fix it and forget it.
That's good. When people are watching you this closely, you just can't be worried about your dentures. That's why I Fixident and forget it.
Fixident holds stronger than any other adhesive. It even stands up to the hottest liquids.
Taste it, Grandpa.
He never would have tried this with his old adhesive.
For the strongest hold you can get, Fixident and forget it.
It was unreal. You woke up with morning breath. You were meeting Miss Wonderful for breakfast, and instead of minty fresh scope... Where's my scope? There was something from the medicine-y mouthwash. It looked blue, but it still smelled somewhat medicine-y. I need my scope. It's okay. Relax. It was all a dream. You do have scope. It's minty through and through and kills 90% of morning breath bacteria. So you use minty fresh scope, and you kiss morning breath goodbye.
Unforgiven. Critics call it a great Western, one of the year's best films. Joel Siegel, Good Morning America. Classic, majestic, passionate. Richard Corliss, Time Magazine. Stunning, powerful. David Hansen, Newsweek. Clint Eastwood, Gene Hackman, Morgan Freeman, Richard Harris. Unforgiven.
You just shot an unarmed man.
Well, he should have armed himself. Rated R. Now playing at a theater near you.
As if dealing with the deadly winds weren't enough, now authorities have their hands full with looters in certain hard-hit areas of Florida. Scott Rappaport has the story of one tiny community with a very big problem.
This used to be the town of Homestead. Today, it's a city of homeless. And picking over the carcass of this once thriving community, looters. The problem is so acute, cops here have formed SWAT teams to fight them. This SWAT team saw the man in this BMW fleeing a damaged restaurant.
Ma'am, did you loot anything?
No, I didn't.
didn't take anything. See, that's why you're going to jail. You're stealing food. I can feel for you.
In the car, they found a telephone and a charity box.
Help, save our world. You're stealing.
The cops are close to breaking point and in no mood to be gentle. They're locals, their own homes have been destroyed, and they're out helping others around the clock.
This food I could understand, but stuff like that, you ain't gonna feed anybody a bone.
I've been through the hurricane. I didn't get a chance to go to a shelter or anything. Me, my 4 kids, and my wife was stuck in the closet. I'm not lying to you all. I'm not lying.
What are they going to do now that you're going to jail?
I don't know, sir.
I'm not going to sit and argue with you, okay? Take your child, you should be home. Take care of your child, not out here stealing.
Some claim they are looting out of hunger.
Look at that. Oh, you're hungry, huh? Looks more like you're thirsty.
Cops say most looters are looking for thrills and alcohol.
We are closed.
But food shortages are real. Most food stores here are seriously damaged. People have food for only a day or two, and some of that is rotting because there is no power.
We're in a motel, but, you know, we only brought enough stuff for a couple days, and we're going to be hungry one of these days, and there's no place to eat.
90% of the homes in Homestead are leveled, including Hanya Terrell's.
I spent a lot of money here. I just threw up like $13,000. Oh, God.
But in the face of catastrophe, the people are determined to start over.
We're all cried out. I mean, we can't cry. We got to start working on things and make things better. I mean, that's all we can do.
And help is on the way. Food, water, and medical supplies are being airlifted today from North Carolina into the disaster zones, where it is desperately needed.
And if you would like to help the victims of Hurricane Andrew, one way is through the Red Cross. Send donations to American Red Cross Disaster Relief Fund, Box 37243, right on your screen, Washington, D.C. 20013. You can also call 1-800-842-2200. And when we come back, an Inside Edition exclusive, the incredible tale of a woman who was raped for 8 straight years.
Travel arranged through Continental. Continental's World is on sale this fall. Save up to 30% on tickets purchased by August 31st. Continental, one airline can make a difference.
On Friday, a brutal murder is recorded as a 911 operator listens in horror.
It all starts here. It all starts here. It all starts here.
It all starts here. The road to the Super Bowl starts here when the Eagles look to avenge their preseason loss to the Jets. Thursday at 7:30 on KYW3.
It all starts here.
75 years ago, Joe Pacifico had an idea to sell only quality cars at affordable prices, backed by the one thing he valued most, his family name. Today, the tradition continues. With every car Pacifico sells, every Ford, Hyundai, Mazda, and Lincoln Mercury is backed by the Pacifico commitment to deliver the best in service, price, and customer satisfaction. The Pacifico family of dealerships will continue its tradition for years to come. Pacifico Ford, Hyundai, Mazda in the Auto Mall, Pacifico Ardmore Ford, Pacifico Lincoln Mercury on the main line.
Jack Singer has just lost $65,000.
Would you like a fruit plate?
Jack doesn't have $65,000.
Do you have a solution? I do. I want your girlfriend for the weekend.
I am so nauseous.
This is the story of one bride, 2 grooms, and 34 flying Elvises.
You're skydiving?
Honeymoon in Vegas. Rated PG-13. Starts Friday at a theater near you.
Get in here.
Get in gear!
Get in gear.
Nissan's Let It Roll sales event is in high gear.
Get a great deal on the Maxima SE, the sedan that has more power than a BMW 525i and more room than a Mercedes-Benz 300e. And right now, you can lease a luxurious Maxima GXE for just $279. But this deal can't last, so hurry in today and let it roll.
Our next story is an Inside Edition exclusive. It is the bizarre saga of a woman named Sandy Schicker, who says she was raped on a weekly basis for 8 years. Hard to believe? Of course it is, until you hear the whole story. Here's Nancy Glass.
Sometimes he would come and he would be crying and saying he doesn't want to do this.
What kind of man would cry and still rape you?
It was all just a game to him. I think. I don't know. Awful.
A cruel game where the victim was systematically and brutally raped over an 8-year period. The weapons used against her were lies and intimidation, threats against the people Sandy Schicker loved the most, her family. Worse yet, the man who victimized her was a member of the family she so desperately wanted to protect. He was her brother-in-law, John Allen.
I don't understand why he did what he did to me.
The most unbelievable part of the story is not why, but how. Sandy Schicker is 27, married, a mother of 3. For years, she lived a double life. She thought she had to just to survive. She was in high school when her brother-in-law, John Allen, approached her with a story most would find outrageous, but not an impressionable 17-year-old like Sandy. John took her for a ride in his truck and confided that he was selling drugs for the mob. Then things got worse.
He said that they had seen me in his truck and they knew who I was, and that I was going to have to let him take some pictures of me so that they can use these pictures against me in case I ever told anyone about the drug. So I did what he told me. I took off my clothes and he took some pictures.
Then her brother-in-law came back and said in order to ensure her safety, he had to have pictures of the two of them having sex.
I did. I let him take the pictures of me, and I let him do what he did to me.
Why would Sandy go along with this humiliation? Because John told her it wasn't her they would hurt, it was her family. His wife, who is Sandy's sister, and their children. He even pretended he hated the situation as much as she did.
I would go and I would hide in the bathroom, but he would follow me there and he'd say, they're standing here in the hallway with a gun, and you have to do this, and I would want to do it. And he would have to practically drag me out of there. And he would blindfold me, and I would have to do all those awful things. And there were so many people.
Sandy was blindfolded, driven to another location, and raped by one or more people once or twice a week over a period of 8 years. All of this would seem hard to believe, a wild fantasy perhaps, if it were not happening to someone else at the same time. Sandy's younger sister, Jennifer.
He'd come over to go swimming or just to play games or to take me places. He was really nice to me.
Remember the story John Allen told Sandy? Well, you are about to hear it again, and just like with Sandy, it started with a ride.
And he was like, oh my God, someone's following us. And he's like, well, I'm in the mafia. They know that I told you that I'm in the mob, so you're in trouble now. I'm in trouble because I told you. I should have never told you.
He went back to Jennifer with the same line. The only way to protect herself was with nude photos and sex.
So he blindfolded me and locked me in the house and took me in the bedroom and just started doing it like all over again, worse. Like, you know, making me do things to him. And, you know, things I had never even heard of before. I had no idea what was going on.
So you figured you should do this to protect him and yourself?
He was saying that the mob was like totally after his kids and that they'd hurt my mother and they'd hurt the rest of my family. I mean,
when he came back again, Jennifer fought back the only way she could.
I just said no. I said, forget it. And I just got on my bike and I just rode away.
I just got on my bike and rode away. Those words remind you that Jennifer is telling the story of a child. She was only 12 years old when John Allen went after her. She told her mother. Her mother went to the police.
He signed a statement saying that he admitted to it all. But I didn't really want to press charges.
Why not?
Because I didn't want to upset anyone. You know, I didn't want my family, you know, would be ruined.
So Jennifer let the matter drop, and she and her mother decided that in order to protect the sister who was John Allen's wife and to protect his children, they would tell no one else in the family.
He was still at my house for like Easter and Christmas. So like I had to see him for like the next 5 years.
How did he respond to you?
He was always like staring at me. And just like, I did get a couple phone calls, like not, like after I said no, like the time that I rode away, I still got a couple phone calls.
I can see that this is very upsetting for you to talk about.
I don't know. I'm just thinking, oh. If we would have done something, he never would have done that to her.
How can you blame yourself? You were only 12.
But then I never told her either. Maybe we tried to keep it a secret, you know.
In the meantime, Sandy continued her double life. She jumped in terror every time the phone would ring, withdrawing further and further into herself. Somehow, she met Daniel. They got married. He worked the night shift, and she kept her secret. When she and her husband decided to start a family, she thought maybe it would all end.
When you were pregnant, he still did this to you?
I told him that it was going to hurt my baby if I did it. And they didn't care.
Who's the they?
The mob.
Now that you know there was no mob, does it seem even crueler to you?
Yes.
When you would see him at your wedding, Christmas time, family dinners, what was he like?
I always thought of him as the person who was protecting me from the mob. Because that's what he told me he was.
It came to an end the day Sandy's mother decided to warn Sandy's husband about John Allen. She was worried for her grandchildren. She made Daniel promise not to tell Sandy. Luckily, he broke that promise. The first thing Sandy did was find her sister Jennifer.
And she called me up. And she says, "How do you know there isn't a mob?" And I said, "Jennifer, how do you know there wasn't a mob?" I just couldn't believe it. And she said, "I didn't know. But I had to tell someone." And I said, "Jennifer, he's doing the same thing to me." I said something like, "Oh my God, go to the police right now." And I don't really remember. I was just like in such shock, you know. This is happening again.
When confronted, John Allen claimed the two were simply having an affair. He was charged with rape, and the family that prized their closeness and their protection of each other found themselves airing a very terrible secret in a court of law. John Allen was convicted and sentenced to 8 to 25 years in prison.
What has this man done to your family?
He's torn it apart. I would not be afraid to say that. I'd like to see him dead, actually.
Sandy has driven her feelings away for so long she cannot feel anger or hate, but she doesn't understand why her family kept everything so quiet. Would you handle the situation the same way your mother did?
No. No.
What should she have done?
She should have at least gotten John Allen out of the family.
Sandy and Dan will tell their children the whole story, but Sandy admits she doesn't even know it herself. She still doesn't know who else was involved in the gang that raped her.
Do you ever walk down the street and wonder, could this man I'm passing be one of those men?
Yes, all the time.
What do you do about that?
Just keep on walking. Nothing I can do.
Sandy's sister is in the process of divorcing John Allen, and the family is starting the long road back to healing itself. And we'll be right back with more of Inside Edition.
Are you hungry? Yeah, but what do you think they feed you at a health spa? All the rabbit food you can eat?
This doesn't look bad. Craft-free ranch dressing. I eat this at home.
Fat-free, cholesterol-free. Sounds like a real treat.
Oh, just try it. So what do you think?
You sure this is fat-free? Tastes like the ranch I eat.
Kraft-free ranch non-fat dressing. If it tastes too good to be fat-free, it's Kraft-free.
I may just make it through the end of the week.
For ordinary heartburn,
The meeting's changed again.
there are ordinary antacids. But for really bad heartburn,
To 7 a.m. Saturday.
better make it Maalox Heartburn Relief. It stops your worst heartburn and helps keep it from coming back like no ordinary antacid.
You didn't know? You didn't know sugar sweetened Kool-Aid has 25% less sugar than Coke or Pepsi? Well, I can't believe you didn't know it has less sugar. But I was gotta run by.
Oh, dear, look. Oh.
Mama.
Having kids means having Kool-Aid soft drinks.
We're on the road with Toyotathon summer clearance.
That's right, Squire, and the deals just keep getting better.
Take advantage of great deals on the Paseo. With a terrific low starting price, it's hard to believe.
Toyotathon is the best time of the year to get a great car. Traditionally, it's the best time also at the end of the year.
Or save on the economical Tercel. It's America's lowest price sedan.
Save during Toyotathon summer clearance. The best time to save is now.
First came Bounty Medleys. Now there's new Bounty Fun Prints. They're pretty fun. Pretty Bounty.
Pretty Bounty. It's the quicker, thicker, fix-you-upper. Look for special prints every season. Pretty Bounty. Every season. Pretty Bounty online.
New Bounty Fun Prints.
Pretty Bounty online. The quicker, thicker, fix-you-upper. Bounty Fun Prints.
Here's what's coming up tomorrow on Inside Edition.
He's nothing but a killer, and he's going to kill again.
She said this eyewitness could prove that this man murdered her family, but he wouldn't talk.
Where's the justice in this world?
Now the jury says the accused is not guilty.
Also tomorrow, we'll be telling you about some people who are cashing in on the victims of Hurricane Andrew. Well, that's our show for today. I'm Tony Cox. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.
It's a land of striking beauty, a nation of unexpected pleasures. I'm Ray Murray. Join Evening Magazine in Israel this week at 7:30 on KYW3.